How dare you refuse to help your sister? Dad's voice was sharp enough to slice bone. His hand slammed the kitchen table, rattling the salt shaker. You think you're better than us now? Because you've got a job? A degree? She's family, Jason, Mom hissed, standing beside him like a judge ready to pass sentence. She's your sister. Across from me, Emily wiped her fake tears with the sleeve of a $400 Patagonia hoodie, the one I bought her last Christmas before she dropped out of college for the second time. I didn't ask for his money, she said, voice trembling just enough to sound innocent. I just thought he'd want to help. I stared at all three of them, my chest tight, but my jaw clenched shut. I wasn't going to cry in this house. Not anymore. You're sitting on $38,000, Jason, Dad barked. And your sister needs just 10 to get her business going. We've always put family first. Why can't you? I didn't answer. I stood, walked out, took my coat off the back of the chair, grabbed my keys, and left the house for what I knew, in that moment, would be the last time. Not a slam, not a word, just the door closing behind me, and the sound of my silence echoing louder than anything they had just shouted. Tomorrow, they'd understand everything, but not tonight. I'm Jason, 24, software engineer. Boston. Quiet by nature, but not weak. People confuse the two. I've never been the loudest in the room, never the favorite at the table. I'm the one who remembers birthdays, pays bills on time, and listens more than I talk. And somehow, in my family, that made me disposable. I learned young that being responsible doesn't get you love. It gets you used. I'm not bitter. Not really. But I'm tired. Tired of feeling like a wallet with legs. Tired of carrying everyone else's weight while they spit guilt in my face the second I draw a line. So yeah, I didn't give my sister the money. And tomorrow, they'll find out why. The family. Dad, Raymond Wells, 63. Retired firefighter. Big voice, bigger expectations. Thinks providing money was his parenting job, not affection. Once told me therapy was for the weak. Mom, Caroline Wells, 61. Homemaker. Never questioned Dad's word. Believes in loyalty over logic. Master of emotional blackmail and guilt-laced casseroles. Emily, 22. My younger sister. Brilliant manipulator. Forever the dreamer. Dropped out twice. Tried 4 side hustles. Crashed 2 used cars, paid by me and Dad, and still thinks the world owes her a chance because she's trying. They've always protected her. They never protected me. It was a Thursday night. I'd just gotten back from work when the call came. Hey, Jay, Emily said. I need a favor. Just a little one. The favor was a $10,000 wire. For her eco-friendly skincare startup. No business plan, no investors, just a Wix website and 3 samples made in Mom's blender. When I said no, she cried. An hour later, Mom called, then Dad. Then the 3 of them cornered me in the kitchen the next day like I was some kind of criminal for saying no. It's not like you're using the money, Emily had said, her voice climbing toward a whine that never quite arrived. Soft enough to sound innocent, sharp enough to cut. It's just sitting there. And there it was. The core assumption that had always lived under the surface in my family. If I wasn't suffering visibly, then I must be fine. And if I was fine, then I owed them something. I didn't respond, because I knew what came next. Mom would lean in and drop her voice like a velvet threat. We're not asking for the world, Jason. Just a little help. Just this once. Then Dad would come in loud, the hammer after the whisper. She's your sister. Blood matters. Or have you forgotten who raised you? And suddenly, my savings, the late nights, the skipped vacations, the freelance coding jobs on weekends, would be reduced to just sitting there. No one asked what the money was really for. Because the truth didn't matter in that house. Only obedience. Only guilt. Only family weaponized. Noah and I met sophomore year. First week of algorithms. He had a laugh that carried across rooms, and a habit of speaking like life was a comic book he'd already memorized. When he got sick, it didn't feel real. He was too alive, too loud, too young. The kind of person who was supposed to outlive you just by force of personality. But life doesn't care how loud you are. By the time the diagnosis came, the cancer had already started chewing through his femur. His parents were kind, good people who worked too many hours for not enough pay. When the hospital bills arrived like wolves at the door, they did what they could. But it wasn't enough. So I did what I could. A private loan. $40,000. No cosigner, no questions. Just a decision made between one heartbeat and the next. Because sometimes you don't wait for someone else to step up. Sometimes you are the someone. He died 8 months later. In the end, he asked me to promise I'd live without regret. No guilt, he said. You saved my life, even if it was just for a little while. You gave me time. That's what that money was. Time extended. So no, Emily, it wasn't just sitting there. It was a Monday. I had just gotten off a call with my real estate agent, a sweet woman named Sandra, who loved espresso and used too many exclamation points in her emails. She called to say the mortgage pre-approval had hit a snag. There's a red flag on your credit report, Jason. A loan you never disclosed? I thought it was a mistake. It wasn't. $12,000. Home equity in my name. Used 2 years ago. I pulled the paperwork. My signature looked off. Too rounded, too neat. It was mine, but not. A cheap forgery done with the arrogance of people who thought I'd never find out. They stole from me. Not metaphorically, not emotionally, legally. And they never even told me, because in their minds it was still family, still justified, still love. But that wasn't love. That was theft. That was betrayal with a smile and casserole dish. The next morning, I turned my apartment into a command center. 2 screens, dozens of tabs. One for the lawyer I found online with good reviews and a quiet fire in her voice. One for gathering evidence, emails, screenshots, timelines. One for printing the side-by-side comparison of signatures. When the cease and desist letter was ready, I attached it to an email. Body, short, cold, precise. Just like I had to be. Because emotion doesn't work with thieves, even if they're your parents. When Emily called, her voicemail was a symphony of desperation. Jason, I swear to God I didn't know. I thought it was from Dad. I didn't mean, please, don't press charges. But I never said I would. She assumed, because that's what guilt does. It turns silence into a threat. And I wasn't threatening, I was done. The letter from Mom arrived in a pale blue envelope. Her handwriting was shaky, the loops tighter than they used to be. I stared at it for 10 minutes before I opened it. Inside. No excuses, no justifications, just a sentence that hung in my chest like smoke. We were scared you'd say no. You always say no. And suddenly, everything snapped into place. Because saying no had become my crime. Not dishonesty, not fraud, not abuse, just boundaries. Just choosing myself. I folded the letter and slid it into the back of my desk drawer. Not forgiveness, not yet. But not rage either. It's been 107 days. I count them, not like scars, but like mile markers on a road I never thought I'd get to walk. Portland is quieter than Boston. Slower, less frantic. Here, I make my own coffee. Here, no one yells when I don't answer the phone. Therapy isn't magic, but it's movement. And for the first time in years, I'm learning that peace is not something you find. It's something you build. In tiny, daily choices. Emily texted again last week. She said she's working full-time at a shipping warehouse, saving for classes. She says she's clean. I wanted to believe her, but I didn't say that. I wrote, I hope that's true. I'm rooting for you, but I need space. Please respect that. She replied, Okay, I get it. And for the first time in our lives, she did. If you've ever been the one who stayed quiet, if you've ever carried the weight no one else even saw, you're not alone. Would you have helped your sister in this situation? Or would you have walked away? Drop your thoughts in the powerful comments. I read everyone. Have you been betrayed by family? What did you do? If this story moved you, hit that like button. Subscribe for more real-life emotional dramas that cut deep, and check out the next video. She stole my college fund, then asked me to pay her rent. You won't believe how that one ends. Until next time, stay strong, protect your peace, and never apologize for finally standing up for yourself.